Y'all already know what time it is. We're coming with some more pressure for you today. Today we're doing a high temp, we're doing a disconnected temp, so let's get busy. First things first, you comb everything down. You want to make your bald line. So I'm coming up. I ain't pressing down, I'm coming up, leaving a chunk of the hairline. Now I'm coming with my Andes Masters completely open, and I'm making that first guideline right there. And I'm going to hit it one more time to make sure everything's at length. Now I close my clippers almost all the way. I'm leaving one dot from the Andes Masters. So I close it all the way till there's one dot, and then I go ahead and flick out. Using my corners, I'm stretching the skin. Then I go ahead and close it up all the way. And again, I do the same thing. Flick out, stretch the skin, use my corners, and that line is done. Now I call this a disconnected temp because, as you can see, I can pull the hair and it has a natural part where the curls start at. So I'm coming with the 2 closed, and I'm going to hit that whole thing with the 2 closed. Now I'm coming with a 1.5. And I always preach this: a blend is a longer length of hair going to a lower length of hair. So I just blend down after I do the first guideline. So I started with a 2. I hit that whole area with a 2 closed. Now I'm coming with a 1.5 open. Now I just closed it. I'm coming with my 1.5 closed. Now each time I go to a lower length, I consciously make a line in my head and I don't go past that line. So I started with a 2, then I came with a 1.5 open. Now I'm doing a 1 closed, and each time I'm coming lower. Now I'm going to go with a 1, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just flicking up. Each time you just want to flick up and just consciously don't go past where you went with the last guard. So again, that's a 2 closed, 1.5 open, 1.5 closed. Now I'm doing a 1 open, and then I'll do a 1 closed. And again, just stretch the skin, flick out, and as you can see, the blend is just coming together naturally. And every time, there's no guidelines for this. You just cautiously move down as you're blending. Now once I'm done with the 1 closed, I go ahead and open my Andes all the way up, and I'm doing detail work. I'm trying to blend in that first guideline with the rest of the blend. So I'm closing up. I'm starting it with it open, and then as I see things, I'm closing it up. I'm doing lever play. Once you learn how to use your lever, you can adjust the lever and make the hair blend the way you want it to blend. So I close it up a little bit. I'm flicking out. I open it up. You know, the lower you go, the more you want to close it, and the higher you go, you want to keep it open. Stretch the skin, and you know you're going to win. Now I'm picking everything back out, making sure that good shape is there. And I'm going to go ahead and shape this bush to give it that blowout look. This is my Andes Master completely closed. I'm just giving it that look, and look at that blend. Now I'm doing the same thing on this side. I'm starting, making my bald line. Again, you can put your bald line in like that, but I always come up and hit the line because it makes it easier to take out. And again, I'm stretching the skin. And look, notice how I'm going sideways when I do that. That's because the grain right there is growing to the left, so I'm cutting it to the right. You have to go against the grain. Again, closing up a little bit. And guys, I'm just doing the same exact steps. You'll learn once you find your process. Once you find the steps that you like to do that works as far as your blend, you just got to do the same steps each time. Now, with different hair textures, you might have to do an extra step or do a step a little bit differently. But once you find your system, you just do the same thing every time, and you'll keep getting the same result. So this is the pressure way. I blend the same way and do the shape up the same way every time. And as a result, I always give pressure. So that's all you got to do, guys. Find your system, find what works for you, and keep doing that system. Perfect that system. And that's going to make your results more consistent. It's going to make your haircuts more consistent. So you get pressure every single time. It's nothing but pressure. You know, so again, I made my first guideline. Then I showed the disconnected temp. I came with a number 2 closed. Then I went lower and I went with a 1.5 open. Then I went lower with a 1.5 closed. Now I'm going with my 1 open, and I just closed the 1. And that's all it is. You just keep coming down from a 2 to the 1.5 to the 1, now to the blade open. And guys, you can start completely open, and then you close it 1 notch. And if it's not blended in, you close it another notch. You see? It's all about the lever play. and you're doing detail work, you're using your corners, you're looking at your mirror, and you want to learn the different levels of the lever. And this is just smoothing everything down, making everything come together. See, I close it up all the way, open it up some, and again, pick it all out. Then I'm going to shape it. Again, same thing I did on one side, you got to do to the other side. That's how you make everything symmetrical, and everything looks the same. That's how you get pressure. Now I'm going to go ahead and prep the hairline, spraying it with some holding spray. And I'm going to go ahead and start the back. So I'm starting the back with a number 3, completely closed. And I'm going against the grain, and I go all the way around the ear, and I just come all the way up. I go all the way around the ear, so when I shape up around the ear, it looks sharp. I don't want it to be all fluffy and bushy around the ear, because shape ups are my specialty. That's where that pressure come in at. So coming with a 3, and I'm just flicking out of that bulk right there. Now I'm coming with a 2, and I'm doing the same thing. Again, I don't even use no guidelines on the back of the head. I just go from the higher guard to the lower guard. Now I'm at the 1.5. I started with a 3, then I went to a 2. Now I'm at the 1.5. And again, each time is open and close. I start with a 3 open, then I do a 3 close, then I do a 2 open, 2 closed. Now I'm at the 1.5 open, and then you're going to see me close it. But each time in my head, I'm not going higher than what I did with the last guard. So if I go to a certain spot with the 2, I'm not going to go higher than that spot when I had the 1.5 on. Same thing with the 1.5 open. I just went with the 1.5 open. Now I close it up, but I'm not going higher than I did when I had it open. So and I'm flicking out. Each time I do this, when I'm fading down, you flick out. So you can flick into that next level of hair. So the 1.5 is flicking into the 2, which is going to make it fade. Same thing with the 1. Now I'm at the 1 open. My 1 open is going to flick into the 1.5. You guys get what I'm saying? This is how you fade down without guidelines. It just makes it so simple. You go from the higher guard to the lower guard. You open and close the lever, and you flick out. And it just naturally blends itself. And then, at the end, you just go and look at it, and you do some detail work. If something seems out of place, you go and fix it. Use your corners, flick out, open your lever, close your lever up. And that's it, guys. You don't need no guidelines. All you need is a higher length of hair going to a lower length of hair. Now I'm going to go ahead and prep the back of the hairline. Now I'm going to go ahead and start the hairline. I'm pushing the curls out the way, and I'm planting in the middle. And as I go straight to the left, you want to plant in the middle and go straight to the left. And every time you go left, you want to come back right. I treat this as like a guideline for the hairline. Every time you go one way, you want to come back the other way to make sure everything is connected. You see how I keep coming back? Then I look at the whole picture. When you guys are doing the shape up, if your shape ups are coming out either crooked or slanted, every time you go a little bit one way, you want to go back the other way. And you want to turn your client to make sure you can see the whole picture. You don't want to just be standing on one side and not looking at the whole hairline as a whole. So, look, you see how I look in the mirror? Every time I do something, I look in the mirror, or I step back and look at the whole head as one. So now at the sidebar, I go ahead and angle forward. And this is another little tip. Sometimes when your clients open their eyes or when they lift their eyebrows, their forehead kind of squints up. So you want to make sure that your client has his eyes closed and his head relaxed. So it's easier for you to do your shape up. And, coming in, I angle the sidebar forward. I'm going to go ahead and hit the main line again, combing everything over the hairline. You guys, when you hit the hairline, you want to comb or brush the hair across the hairline and then hit it again. This is how you make sure everything is straight. So no matter what your client does when they go home, if they brush or comb their hair the wrong way and you didn't, the hairline is going to be there wherever they brush or comb their hair to. So again, coming across to the right, angling my sidebar forward, I'm angling towards the eye, combing the hair across the hairline, making sure everything's symmetrical. And yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and do the back. And again, I'm kind of pushing his head down to stretch the skin a little bit. I'm coming straight from the bottom, straight up. And again, going back and forth because I'm using that line as my guideline. And, you know, combing the hair over the hairline, hitting it again. And then when I get to the curve, I use my corner and I hit the swerve. And you swerving everything from the back to the front. You see how everything connects? And it goes around the ear. So when you get to the curve, you hit the swerve. All you got to do is use your corner and literally just swerve. You just swerve your trimmers how you want the curve to be. When you get to the curve, you just hit the swerve. And then once you put that initial line in there from the swerve, you can go ahead and clean it up. So, and then I go ahead and switch my trimmers to some that are not as sharp, just to do some cleanup work and some detail work. Because the neck area and behind the ear are very sensitive. So I always switch to some trimmers that are not as sharp to do some cleanup work, so I don't, you know, dig in or cut anybody behind there. I put the initial line in with my sharpest trimmers, and then I switch to the other ones to, you know, do some cleanup and detail work. So now I'm doing the same thing on this side. Again, hitting the line, going back and forth, combing the hair across the hairline, getting to the curve, hitting the swerve. And, you know, like I said, once you get your system, you just consistently do it. It's about consistency. And same thing I do to one side, I'm doing the same thing to the other side. And I'm going to, if I keep doing the consistent same system, I'm going to keep getting the same result, which is pressure. So now I'm coming in with some color enhancement. I'm using the Tune 45 spray and the spray gun. And just notice how I'm spraying directly on the hairline and I'm constantly moving my hand. This constant motion is going to give you a nice spread of ink, so it doesn't look like too much. Now notice my card placement with the fibers. I spray a little bit off of the hairline. So I hold the card directly on for the spray and I hold it off. I hold the card a little bit off of the hairline for the fibers. And why I do that is because the fibers, you can spray excess fibers across the hairline. So when you go to shape it up, you're really shaping up the fibers and not touching the hair. So you're just giving the hairline a really sharp look. You know what I'm saying? So the Tune 45 spray, it kind of like gives it that realistic feeling. And then the fibers gives the hairline that pop out that you want. So I always use the both. And I always go ahead and reblend the hairline in at the end. So now I'm spraying it with the holding spray. That's going to lock all the enhancements in. And I lay my client back. And I'm stretching the skin, holding my razor at a 45-degree angle, and just bringing everything back to the hairline. Just make it super sharp. This is gonna give it that ash line. See, the spray I use, it dries the hair out. So when you use a straight razor, it gives a natural ash line. So I don't use a pencil unless the client requests it. And also, I'm cleaning up some excess fibers here. You know what I mean? And after every couple strokes, you can notice I'm wiping the blade off. If you constantly wiping the blade off, you get a clean blade, so it gives it a better chance to get that crispy, clean ash line, you know? So every couple strokes, you want to wipe your blade off. And then, yeah, stretching the skin. Stretch the skin, you know you're going to win. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just shaping the front of this fro just to make sure everything is looking good and symmetrical and make sure that hairline is popping. So you know how people come in sometimes. This was back to school. You see we giving away cleats in the background on the floor. We got a football coach, so, you know, we're doing our thing. But my client, you know, he was looking rough. He was looking scruff. He came in mad. You know, he came in a little sad. But I'll tell you one thing. That boy left in his bag. Y'all know what's going on, man. The pressure way, pressure temp, disconnected temp. You know what I mean? Y'all see the blend. The hairline is popping, the curls are there. You know, everything is pressure. And this is what we do, man. We all about consistency. You see my football coach, he's giving away cleats. You know, we giving back to the community. Man, we just trying to give back. I'm trying to give away this knowledge. I'm trying to give away this pressure. So, you know what I mean? Make sure y'all like and subscribe, comment. Nothing but pressure. Pressure bips. Y'all know what's going on, man. Clean. Disconnected temp. Let's get it.